In this video, we will discuss normal operators. Firstly, we define the normal operator. An operator on a Hilbert space is said to be normal let us say operator n on a Hilbert space H this is said to be normal if it commutes with its adjoint. That means if n star is n star n. So these operators are very important in the theory of functional analysis. Now we will prove that the set of all normal operators, this is actually a closed subset of BH. BH, which is collection of all the operators on H. So we have proved earlier that collection of all the self-adjoint operators, that is a real Banach space, and that is a closed, in fact, that is a closed subspace, real closed subspace of BH. So firstly, we have this result that every self-adjoint operator is normal, because if the operator is self-adjoint, then it is equal to its adjoint. So n star and n both are same. So in that case, obviously n star is equal to n star n. Now we can say one more thing about normal operators. If n is normal operator and alpha is any scalar, then alpha n is normal. So for that we can easily see that alpha n into alpha n star, this is equal to alpha n star into alpha n, because n is given to us normal operator and alpha n star, alpha n star, that will become alpha bar n star. So here it will be alpha bar n star into alpha n. So basically it is alpha bar n star and alpha bar alpha n star n. Now since alpha bar, this is just mod alpha square n star, and right side also becomes mod alpha square n star n. So alpha star both are same, and n is given to us normal operator, so n star is equal to n star n. So again both are same, so we can say alpha n is normal. So now we have theorem A, which says set of normal operators on H, this is a closed subset of BH, and this subset will contain the set of all self-adjoint operators and is closed under scalar multiplication. So we have proved this set of normal operators is closed under scalar multiplication, because we have proved if n is normal, then alpha n is normal for all alpha. So now we will prove set of normal operators is a closed subset. So now I am here writing subset, not subspace, because it is not linear. Because if we take n and let us say n dash to be normal operators and alpha and beta are any scalars, then we cannot say that alpha n plus beta n dash, this is also normal. So that's why I am using the term subset, not the subspace. So let us prove this is a closed subset. So for closeness, we will take a sequence, convergent sequence of normal operators. Let us say it converges to operator n. So let we have nk, this be sequence of normal operators which converges to n. So we want to prove n is normal. Now if nk converges to n, then we know adjoint of nk, that converges to adjoint of n. Then we start with n star minus n star n. Because we want to prove n is normal, so we want to prove this is 0. That means this is equal to this. So let us start with the norm of this operator. So we will add and subtract nk star, and we know the property that mod norm of sum is less than equals to sum of norms. So we can write this is less than these norms. So here we are just adding and subtracting two terms. One is this nk star and other is nk star nk. And apply the property that norm of sum is less than equals to sum of norms. So we know nk is normal operator. So if nk is normal operator, then nk star minus nk star nk, this is 0. So this norm becomes 0. So we are left only with two norms, and that is equal to n star nk star nk minus n star n. Now nk converges to n and nk star converges to n star. So nk star converges to n star. Similarly nk star nk converges to n star n. So again this converges to 0 and this converges to 0. So both sum converges to 0. So now we have proved that norm of n star minus n star n is less than equal to some operator, something which converges to 0, which means n star minus n star n, this is 0, or both are equal, or we can say n is normal operator. So if we have a sequence of normal operators which converges to further a normal operator, that means set of normal operators is a closed subset of BH. So now the question is whether the sum of normal operators and product of normal operators is normal or not. So under some condition they are also norm. So the condition is they should commute with the adjoint of the other operator. So here we can say if n1 and n2 are normal operators, then n1 plus n2 and n1 n2 in sum and product, they are normal only if n1 commutes with the adjoint of n2, if and only if each commutes with the adjoint of other. It means n1 commutes with the adjoint of n2 and n2 commutes with the adjoint of n1. So let us prove. Firstly, we have given these conditions that n1 commutes with the adjoint of n2, which means n1 and n2 star, this is just n2 star n1. And second thing, n2 commutes with the adjoint of n1, and that also comes from the same equation. By taking adjoint of these two on both sides, we will get this thing n1 star n2, because when we take the adjoint of left hand side, it will become n2 star star, which is n2, then n1 star, and similarly right hand side becomes n1 star n2. So if we take n1 commutes with adjoint of n2, so this statement obviously implies that each commutes with the adjoint of other. So now we will prove n1 plus n2 is normal. So for the normality, we have to check whether it commutes with its adjoint or not. So n1 plus n2 into n1 plus n2 star. So this just becomes n1 plus n2 n1 star n2 star. So this is n1 n1 star n1 n2 star n2 n1 star n2 n2 star. So from these inequality, say this is equation 1, this is 2. So from equation 1, n1 n2 star is n2 star n1. That means this and this both are same. n1 n2 star this is n1 n1 star. Now n1 n2 star, this becomes from equation 1 n2 star n1, and n2 n1 star from equation 2 becomes n1 star n2, then this. Now we take the right hand side. Now we take this thing n1 n2 star n1 plus n2. So this becomes n1 star n2 star. So by the simple calculation we can say these two are equal by using these equations. So let us see how. n1 star n1 n1 star n2 n2 star n1 n2 star n2. So from this we can say n1 star n2, that is here, n2 star n1, that is here, and so these two are same. So therefore n1 plus n2 is normal. Similarly we can prove the other part, the product n1 n2, that is also normal operator. Now we have this condition, actually definition. The operator is self-adjoint if A is equal to A star. An operator A is self-adjoint if A is equal to A star. That means we can say A is self-adjoint if A star x is equal to AX for each x in H. So now we assume only the weaker property, weaker condition, that if norm of A star x is equal to norm of x, then we can say the operator is normal. So if we assume, but now we have this theorem which says T, an operator T on the Hilbert space H is normal if and only if norm of T star x, this is just norm of Tx for each x. That means for the self-adjointness, the value of the operator at each x should be equal, but for the normality only these norms should be equal for each x. So this is the weaker condition than this. So now let us prove this. So norm of Tx, we will start by norm of Tx. This is equal to norm of Tx. So we have to prove T is normal if and only if this. So we will start the norm of T star x is equal to norm of Tx for each x. So this condition is true if and only if their squares are same. So norm of Tx square is equal to norm of Tx for all x. So if and only if, now we can write the square of norms as inner product. So this is Tx for each x. So if and only if by the property of T and T star, by the relations of T and T star, so this factor becomes this T star becomes T here, so it will be T star x, and similarly this T becomes T star here, so this is T star Tx x for each x. So if these two are equal for each x, that means this minus this, and then the second part is x, this inner product is 0 for each x. If and only if t star t minus t star x, and then x, this is 0 for each x. Now if this thing is 0 for each x, that means this operator is 0. So if and only if this operator is 0. So if and only if, now t star t minus t star is 0, which means these two are same, which means t is normal. So we have proved that t is normal if and only if norm of t star x is equal to norm of tx for each x. Then we have another theorem which says if n is a normal operator, then norm of n square is equal to square of norm n. So if n is normal, then this. So we have proved earlier a theorem in section 56 that the norm of n star n is equal to norm of n square. Square of norm n, sorry. So we have proved in section 56, we have proved this result, that norm of n star n, this is norm n square. So now we will start by norm of n square x, and that can be written as n of nx, and that is n star nx by the previous theorem, because from the previous theorem an operator is normal if and only if norm of t star x is equal to norm of tx for all x. So n is normal, so it means n of nx, norm of nx is equal to norm of n star of nx for each x. This is for each x. So if this thing is true for each x, that means norm of n square, that is just norm of n star n. And from these two, this is, let us say 1, this is 2, so from 1 and 2, norm n square, this is just a square of norm n. So for the normal operator we can conclude this. Now we have one important thing, that any normal operator, any operator can be expressed as any operator can be expressed as a linear combination of two self-adjoint operators. So let us say how. Let us say firstly take. Actually, there is a simple analogy between self-adjoint operators and the collection of complex numbers. So for example, let us say z is a complex number, and we can write every complex number as a plus ib, where a and b are real numbers. And here a is called real part of z and b is called imaginary part of z. And if we take z conjugate, then it will be a minus iota b, and we add these two equations, then we will get z plus z bar is equal to 2a. So it means a is equal to just z plus z bar by 2. Similarly, when we calculate b, it will be z minus z bar upon 2 iota. So for any complex number z, if a and b are real and imaginary parts respectively of z, then a is just z plus z conjugate by 2 and b is z minus z conjugate by 2i. Similar analogy is between the self-adjoint operators and real numbers. So let us say we have any operator t on H, then we can write this t as t plus t star by 2 plus iota t minus t star by 2 iota, because let us say how. We are adding t star and subtracting t star. Here we are adding t star by 2 and subtracting t star by 2 because iota will be cancelled, so t star will be cancelled. So left is only t by 2 iota, t by 2 iota, that means t by 2 plus t by 2, so it will be t. So any operator t can be written like this. So this t plus t star by 2, this will be let us say a1, and let us say t minus t star upon 2 iota, let us say this is a2. So we can write every operator t on H as a1 plus iota a2, where a1 is t plus t star by 2 and a2 is t minus t star by 2 iota. So now we will prove that these a1 and a2, these are self-adjoint operators. So let us start from a1 star. a1 star will be just t plus t star by 2, then its conjugate. So it will be, because 2 is real number, so we can take it outside. Then it will be t star plus t star star, and t star star is just equal to t. So this becomes 1 upon t, 2 t plus t star again. So this is further t. So a1 star is equal to a1. So a1 is self-adjoint operator. Similarly, a2 star is t minus t star upon 2 iota. Let us take this. Let us take the joint of this. So 1 upon 2 iota. So iota will come with iota conjugate because we are taking the conjugate of iota. So that will be iota bar, and iota bar is minus 1 minus iota. So it is minus 1 upon 2 iota t star minus t star star, so that is t. So this minus will absorb inside, so it will become 2 iota t minus t star. So for again this is a2. So a1 star is a1, a2 star is a2. So both the operators a1 and a2 are self-adjoint operators. That means for any operator t, we can write t as a1 plus iota a2, which is a linear combination, as a1, which is self-adjoint operator, and a2, that is again a self-adjoint operator. Means we can write t as a1 plus iota a2, where both the parts a1 and a2 are self-adjoint. So these a1 and a2 are called real and imaginary part of t. So a1 and a2 are called, actually these are not real numbers, these are operators, but we will say these are real and imaginary parts of t. So now in the next theorem we will prove that if t is any operator and t is actually a normal operator, then its real and imaginary parts, they will commute. If t is normal, then its real and imaginary part commute. So let us say a1 and a2 are real and imaginary parts of t, so that t can be written as a1 plus iota a2. So if t is this, then what is t star? That is a1 star minus iota a2 star. So we have to prove t is normal. If t is normal, then actually this is if and only if t is normal, if and only if its normal real and imaginary parts commute. So let us calculate firstly t star. So t star is a1 plus I a2, a1 minus I a2. So this will become a1 into a1, a1 square, a1 into this minus iota a1 a2, and then this I a2 a1, and then the last factor iota minus 1. So this is plus a2 square. So this can be written as a1 square a2 square plus iota a2 a1 minus a1 a2. Similarly, we calculate t star t, and it will become a1 square plus a2 square plus iota a1 a2 a2 a1. So T is normal if and only if T star is equal to T star T. So if and only if this quantity and this quantity are same. Now a1 square a2 square, they will be cancelled on both sides. So if and only if these two are same, that means a2 minus a1, sorry, a2 a1 minus a1 a2, that is equal to a1 a2 minus a2 a1. So if and only if a1 a2 a1 a2 and a2 a1 a2 a1, so twice of a2 a1 is equal to twice of a1 a2, which means a2 a1 is a1 a2. So T is normal if and only if a1 commutes with a2, which means its real and imaginary parts commute.